to let that student in. Good morning. Welcome to Virtual Path Day for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, and Environment and Sustainability. This session is URI transfer session for STEM students, STEM pathway students, and STEM major students. And I would like to turn it over at this time to Victor Silva from URI.
Great. Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen. If you folks just give me one moment, and I'm going to have Jessica. I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, if you could give me a thumbs up if you can see the presentation and just the presentation, or did it go away? Any good, Lau? All right, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it. All right, so I want to thank you for those folks that have joined today live. This will be shared again by Jessica and the Career Services team. But, you know, while you're in Rhode Island, I think one of those things that we forget as Rhode Islanders, you know, the resources and the great things that we have available to us right in our backyard. But certainly for those folks that have joined us and that will be seeing this in the future, you realize that, and we're a great option for you continuing into your STEM studies at the University of Rhode Island. We have a breadth of majors that you would be interested in as well. So starting off, you know, just a little bit about the campus and where we are for those folks that might be in the northern part of the state and don't get to see us very often, but we're located in southern Rhode Island, about 10 to 15 minutes away from beautiful beaches. We are ranked as number 3 as one of the best value schools, and one of the 30 most beautiful coastal college campuses as well. And we're very accessible to other bigger cities in the region. And I think that's great, especially for exposure when it comes down to internships, research opportunities. You know, being where we are, you know, in between New York and Boston provides great opportunity for students, especially within your majors within STEM. Now, who are RAMs? What's our makeup here on campus? About 53% of our students are in-state students. 47% are out of state or international. The student body, there's about 48 states represented in 76 nations, which is fantastic because you are learning with folks from all over the country, all over the world. They're providing their perspective in your classes. You know, when it comes down to research experience, you might be in a political science course as well as part of one of your core requirements, or maybe it's something within sustainability or wildlife conservation for those CELS students, College of Environment and Life Sciences. So they're bringing perspective on where they're from, which is great, because if we all just were in class with everyone from Rhode Island and that was it, you know, we have a very limited picture into what the world is in our experience potentially, but having these other folks in there enhances your academic experience. 25% of our incoming students identify as students of color. Our student to faculty ratio is 16:1, and we have 85% of our faculty have doctoral or terminal degrees, meaning they're experts in their field, right? They've continued and studied to the highest degree possible. So, and now they're sharing with you the information that they have and the knowledge that they have. And 76% of our classes have fewer than 30 students, which is great to know because it's going to be that familiar feel of what you used to at the Community College of Rhode Island. You know, so even though we have close to 15,000 undergraduate students, you know, you're not going to feel that you're lost in the shuffle in the class, or you're just going to be in large classes, especially as transfer students. When you're transferring in after your degree at CCRI, you're probably going to be in your upper level courses right away, which are smaller by nature anyways. You'll have most of your general education requirements completed. As transfer students, you are absolutely still able to live on campus, even as Rhode Islanders. So when applying to the university, if living on campus in one of the university residence halls is of interest to you, you can certainly apply as a resident student. If not, you want to commute, definitely manageable, and you can work with your advisor, and we'll talk about that to develop your schedule to make the most sense for you in regards to your schedule. And then also living off campus, but close by in, some of the beach houses that we call down the line, kind of stretching from South Kingstown into Charlestown. So there's a lot of opportunities, not only on campus, but also off and close by. So for our students today, this is the list of our 8 degree granting colleges. Some of your majors will fall within different places. So we have our College of Arts and Sciences, College of Health Sciences, College of Nursing, Pharmacy, Education, Business, Engineering, Environment, and Life Sciences. For the most part, you'll find probably, I would say the bulk within the Arts and Sciences, Engineering, and then Environment and Life Sciences. Since we have about 90 majors, you also have the opportunity to potentially double major, minor. So if you wanted a secondary discipline, and because we have 90 majors, you could say we have close to 90 minors as well. So great opportunity if you have multiple interests, as far as just, your primary major, but then also want to branch out a little bit. Opportunities. And this is a question I get often. Students will say, I'm transferring, I have an associate's degree, can I still participate in these other things? Will I have room in my degree? And the answer is yes. Just because you're a transfer student doesn't mean that you can't take an internship. And in fact, most programs have an internship built into them, or at least an option to do it, or research, depending upon your major. You can absolutely study abroad. I mentioned research. We have opportunities too for advancing your leadership skills, either in a leadership minor or working with our Center for Student Leadership. We have an honors program that you can be a part of. And the nice thing, on top of all this, you have your major, you have your minor, so the academic components, right? But you're also building a resume for yourself and the things that you're doing. So clubs and organizations we'll talk about in a moment, but these types of things, and 90% of our graduates are employed within their field or heading to graduate school within 6 months of their graduation, which is great, showing that what we're doing in the classroom to prepare you for life after URI is working, and our students are very successful. School spirit. So if you are interested in, the vibrant campus life, we certainly have 18 Division I sports. We compete in the Atlantic 10 Conference. That's our website there if you want to check it out, or if you have any interest in, the teams that we have, or interest in participating in a sport. And the same thing goes for our club sports and intramural sports. But beyond the actual sports programs, we hold concerts and different events at the Ryan Center. We'll have public speakers on campus. Christian Amanpour comes on campus, and we have some different lecture series. So there's some really interesting things and people that are coming on campus to meet with our students. And we have our alumni and family weekend. Getting involved. So we have more than 300 clubs on campus, clubs and organizations. So if you are interested in something, and you participate in something at CCRI, or have in the past, or maybe even in high school, or you just do something personally, whether it be service related, volunteering, you can do all those things with us. We have those built into our campus life. So we do have formal organizations established. But if for some reason, when looking at it, you can't find it, exactly what you're looking for, we encourage you to start it. So you can actually petition to the Student Senate and, start your own club or organization, which is great, and have some resources assigned to you, so that depending upon your mission and what you're doing, you can also have different events or participate in different professional development. So again, most of our students are involved in something on campus. They could be university tour guides, working in different offices. So you'll see most of our students, not just heading to class and back to the dorm. They're actually about campus and doing things. And then we also have different centers and programs on campus. We have our Multicultural Center, Gender and Sexuality Center, Women's Center, Talent Development. We also have a great disability service office for anyone that, needs additional academic assistance, or, has individualized educational plans or programs. So those are the different things that will enhance your academic experience here, but, outside of the classroom. So I think the biggest questions when it comes to transfers, how do I actually apply? And we have a great relationship with the Community College of Rhode Island, especially when it comes to transferable credit. And I'll show you a couple more resources after the formal presentation to help make sense of all of this for you. But the very basic part of it, how to apply. So for those folks that are finishing up and plan on transferring for spring, our deadline is December 15th. And classes start, January 26th over here after the new year. And then our fall transfer deadline, so fall 2021, is June 1st. So there is still plenty of time for both of those to complete the process. Now, as a general guideline and checklist here, you'd have to complete the common application, the transfer common application. It's available on our website. I'll show you how to get to that. If you do not have an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree from another institution, you would have to submit your official high school transcript. If you'll have to submit all official college transcripts from schools you attended. So if CCRI wasn't the only place you attended, we need the other transcripts as well. But if you have an associate's degree or will have an associate's degree before you enter, then you do not need to submit your high school documents. And there is a $65 application fee. Now, once you're accepted to the university, your transcripts go over to the faculty, depending upon the department that you're applying to, the program you're applying to, and they'll actually perform a credit evaluation for you. So that's when you'll get your official, credit evaluation. And it's a pretty straightforward document where it shows all the classes that you've taken at the Community College of Rhode Island and what they equal at the University of Rhode Island. And then you can kind of forecast how long, the rest of the degree will take you to complete. So as a general rule of thumb for transfer, students with less than 24 credits would need a minimum of a 2.8 to be considered for admission. Those students with 25 to an associate's degree, to 60 credits without an associate's degree would need a 2.5, and anyone with an associate's degree would need a 2.4 GPA to be considered for admission. And I'll show you where to find that information again. So I think that those are, the pretty important steps, in considering what you need to apply. There's no letters of recommendation or a personal statement that you have to write. The transfer common application is pretty straightforward. Financial aid. So if you're filing for federal financial aid, our school code is listed there for you, and you can also find it on our website. But this gives you an idea of what the cost is for an in-state student. So we have our tuition, which is about $15,000. If you're living on campus with room and board, it's about $13,000. So our all-in cost, more or less, is about $28,000 for in-state students if you're living on campus. So we do offer need-based financial aid to our students that are applying. So you want to make sure that you complete the FAFSA, add our school code on that. And even if you haven't been accepted yet, or if you're applying for spring, or you haven't applied yet, but you're applying for spring, you can go into your FAFSA that you completed last year, the one that you used for CCRI, if you're applying for financial aid, and add our school code to it. And then when you do your new one, make sure we're on there too, especially if you're looking for fall. It's not too early to start that process, and you don't need an admissions decision to apply for financial aid at this point. But what that does allow you to do, once accepted, the information is transmitted pretty seamlessly and quickly over to our financial aid office so they can give you a financial aid package. We do offer merit scholarships as well. So we have general transfer scholarships. Students would need a minimum of 24 credits to be considered with a 3.3 GPA. For those students that are doing very well and exceptional students, and you are a member of Phi Theta Kappa, we also have a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship. If you're in your first term, you're starting out, and you start to get emails about Phi Theta Kappa, the Honor Society, it's worth joining because the additional financial assistance can definitely be worth your while. So I would encourage you to explore that option, especially if invited. And then the biggest thing. So right now we're not doing on-campus tours, unfortunately. We are allowing students to come to campus and do some self-guided tours. But we have a virtual tour on our website, which I can show you how to access. I'm doing individual meetings for any student that wants to talk about their specific transfer to the university. We have Ask a Student chats. Every Friday, I host a transfer chat. So if you just have something quick that you want to discuss, you're more than welcome to register, and I'll show you how to get to those events on our website. We're going to be doing something very similar with our information sessions to make sure that students have access to these types of things. So, you can pull them up on demand. It might be something about engineering. It might be something about biology or environmental science. So some special interest topics. And then we have our open house information. So we finished up our open houses for the fall, but for the spring, there'll be different opportunities available to you too. So I'm going to exit out of the presentation, and as I promised, I wanted to pull up a couple things for you. So bear with me here. I'm gonna bring my browser over here to the shared screen. All right. So the easiest way to get to our transfer website, I think, is just typing URI transfer admission. So it'll be the first non-ad link that comes up. And where I was talking about, the application, those requirements, you might say, Victor, I can't remember what you said about the GPAs. All of that's going to be listed here. So there's first a reminder about the deadlines, but then talking about the first step, the application. So some important information here about majors that we don't accept transfer students to, but this link here will take you to the common application for transfer students. So that's where they'll start. And then I mentioned you can take a virtual tour. There's also this option to register for that transfer chat I was talking to you about on Fridays. So everything you need as far as a transfer student can be found here for the admissions end of things. Before I go to general requirements, I want to do one more thing. You should be able to see it here. We have our email address to the office if you ever have any questions after the fact and you want to just touch base. And then also down here, the Meet Your Counselor. When you're clicking on this, you'll be taken to a link to my profile and calendar. So if you do want to schedule a meeting with me one-on-one, my availability is available there. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show you after all that is the general transfer requirements. So this is where you'll find all that information about the GPAs, depending upon the amount of credits that you have. So this is a good resource to have as well. And to keep in mind, if you can't locate it at any point or you're confused or stuck, definitely feel free to reach out. The other thing I wanted to show you was our competitive program requirements. So within some of your majors within STEM, especially engineering, there are some additional requirements. So when you click on the College of Engineering, for example, it's going to give you the list of general requirements depending upon the credits that you have, but then also specific requirements defined by the department. So anyone interested in engineering, for instance, needs to have a college level pre-calculus, at least college level pre-calculus with a B or better to be considered for admission into any of our engineering programs. So again, different than the general policy that I shared with you, but available here. So this is an important section of the website, the competitive program requirements, to see if there's anything else that your major might require. And then we talked briefly about transferable credit. So CCRI, as a CCRI student, you also have this on your website. You could access it by CCRI tests. But if you came into our website or you just type this in a browser, URI TES, it's going to take us to our transfer evaluation system. So you can actually see the CCRI link on I used it in the past for these presentations. So you can access that one from the search. But then ours is the first link that comes up, and it's going to be very, very plain, but it's listed alphabetically. And this takes us to all the approved classes for the Community College Rhode Island and what they equal at URI. So it's essentially a guide, a transfer guide for transferable credit. So we go alphabetically, and we get to the Community College of Rhode Island, and you'll see almost every class has been evaluated for something, whether it's for actual credit or elective credit. So you can go through your degree at this point and kind of map out for yourself what you've taken and what they equal here. So I'm just going to use this as an example, but let's say you took these 5 classes, so you start going through the list and you check them all off. When you use this function up here, the add view my list, it's going to give you essentially your own unofficial evaluation. And the nice thing about this is that you can save it, download it, you could export it to Excel, or even just email it to yourself. So you have this nice clean sheet showing you what your transferable credit looks like. I don't want to do that. So for the folks that are on, that is my formal presentation. I'm going to stop sharing, but for any of you folks, are there any specific questions you'd like to ask? You can also, if you don't want to mute yourself, you could ask them in the chat and I can address them for everyone. And if not, first and foremost, thank you so much, Jessica, for including me in these presentations and being able to share this information with CCRI students. And as I said before, please feel free to reach out to me if you want to schedule an individual meeting. You have questions or concerns that you don't want to bring up in the group event.
Yes, excuse me. So yeah, please feel free to take yourself off mute or type in the chat. And if you're watching this in recording, you can easily go to the URI website and connect with Victor that way. You'll be able to connect with his drop-in hours, his transfer hours, to get more information about URI. He can talk to you about, in another session, talk to you more about your specific individual transfer situation. And he can likely connect you with faculty or program coordinators in any of the STEM fields at URI as well. So Victor, if a student is very certain that they want to transfer to URI, what would be their first step? Should they go ahead and fill out the application right away? Is there any negative to filling out the application right away before they talk to you?
There isn't any negative. So, I don't want to discourage anyone from completing the application. If you feel confident about getting started on that, you're more than welcome. It's pretty intuitive, so you'll be able to get through it pretty easily. But there might be some parts that aren't, and you can definitely reach out after the fact. You don't have to necessarily reach out to me first. I always like it because we can talk about your specific path. So I recommend, if you have the time, or even if you've started it, but want to talk or have a discussion with me to kind of finish the process before you submit it, I think that's great. But again, if you're going through it, have already done it, no negative associated with that. But I think it's nice just for us to have a conversation and provide some expectations for you and understand what your timeline will look like to really make you feel comfortable in this transition from CCRI to URI.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I think we've come to about the end of our session right now. I'd just like to encourage anyone who is here with us live to come back and join us for some of our later sessions as well. We'll be talking with Rick, and we will be talking with URI again later today with specific information about any programs linked to environment and sustainability at CCRI. But also, if you are in recording, you can still, I'd just like to put in a plug for the job fair at CCRI that's being hosted through Handshake. And that is going to be next week, November 12th. And you can get more information about that on the Career Services website. So thank you very much for being with us, Victor.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.